Tom's with that?
Hey, it's Tom Cassidy. This is Reasonable Coaching. I'm here with Mark Berger in the house. It's 10 p.m. on a Saturday night in the UK, and it's 5 o'clock in the Saturday afternoon in Florida. So how you doing, Mark?
Actually, I'm doing pretty well. It's I just felt, I wanted to have a discussion, and I kind of like having discussions. It's actually very good. And Thomas, you have a new edition coming very soon.
Yeah, it's going to be any time now, really. Cindy's feeling the pre-birth contractions. Like last week, they were pretty strong, and today they were pretty strong. But I reckon it's going to be a few days. It's always later than you think.
Well, it's quite amazing, right? You seem very happy these days.
For me, it's an astonishing thing. Everyone gets really excited if they write a book or maybe do a project at work or set up a company or something like that. Even some people get really excited about building a house. But when you think of what you do unconsciously, when you actually create another human life, it's just literally mind-blowing to think that right now there's trillions of chemical reactions taking place every second that I was part of bringing into existence, and Cindy doesn't really know what she's doing either, and it's just ready to come out. And just when you think of what that individual might then give rise to, not just in all the things they do in their lives, but all the things that they might, all the lives that they might then create, and where that ends. I mean, it's insane. But yes, I'm pretty excited, pretty laid back, pretty chilled out, pretty excited.
There's a lot of exciting things going on, and giving life, right? And you're also giving life to all of us as well, with this reasonable program and everything. So it's like, not only are you giving life in terms of like a baby and birth,
the physical,
you're giving life,
yeah,
to people all over the place. So it's like a birthing of people. What Tom is doing is pretty amazing because, like, I feel there's a birthing in people. And what I mean by birthing, a birthing of people inside, like a popping of someone that was there before. I was thinking about, Tom, you have kids, right?
Yeah, a lot of them.
And I don't have kids. My wife and I want kids. We're late starters, so hopefully we're going to Mexico in July, and hopefully it's going to happen there. And it'll be our first child. I made an affirmation. Like, I should not an affirmation. I made, like, before we started this or whatever, I wrote down some goals, and one of them was to have, a baby coming this summer, and it'll be our first child. But the thing that also is that I don't have kids, and one thing I was just thinking about this whole entire, like, reading and chapter and everything like that, and the thing is that it's kind of odd, but each week, my week is like the chapter that actually I'm reading or studying, and I'm feeling it so many different ways. So one thing is about, experimenting, right? And it was something that he was talking about in chapter 11. And then I was thinking about something else because I'm experimenting with different things, right?
Yeah.
But you have kids. Don't kids like playing a game called Make Believe?
All the time. Yeah. All the time. They do it. Basically, you can't stop them. That's what they just do all the time.
So tell people what Make Believe actually is.
Well, essentially, what kids do, right? I mean, you can't stop them doing this, but what they do is just naturally, automatically, they kind of make up whatever they want to happen. They're just playing and they're talking about motorbikes and cars and islands and being secret agents and all sorts of stuff. They just literally create whatever they want to. And what's really interesting is our kids are like any other kids. They love to watch TV. You could put them in front of a TV and they'll watch, or they love to play computer games, like usually a bit more creative than we don't let them play the shoot 'em up computer games. They play lots of creative, like there's something called Minecraft, which is like a Lego, an online version of Lego. They just literally create their own worlds. But they would stay in front of that for hours all the time. And so default, they will do what they kind of naturally is easiest for them to do, like watch TV or play on the computer. But about half an hour after you've insisted that they can't play on the computer, and the first half an hour they're kind of, but then they just go into this incredible zone where they literally create these whole fantasy world, and they play with each other, and you hear the language that's going on, and you say, how have they even learned some of this stuff? And they'll literally play for 2 or 3 or 4 hours. But like they're like any other kids, right? They won't. There is a bit of resistance to make believe because it requires a little bit of effort, and it's interesting parallels to real life, right? Or to what we do.
Right, but isn't this like what you say about experimenting and making believe? So,
Yeah.
as kids, we like to make believe, right? I like to make believe, and maybe making believe is actually practicing for real life, or practicing for what it is. But why don't we just go right to believe? Being that which we want to be. We can make believe, right? And part about experimenting is making believe. I wanted to have my own talk show, right?
Yep.
I wanted to have my own TV show. In fact, it's still up in the air. Something that I think the universe will provide at a much greater level. So I had this practice run with Ruth the other night, and I was having a cup of tea, and I was talking to Ruth, and she was like, we're having a conversation, and I asked if she wanted to go live or not, and it was her choice. I was trying to do the hangout, and I was just having a conversation with her, asking her questions, and she was enjoying the answers. It was kind of like a really fun conversation. So she actually opted to have it posted, and it was a good choice because then she was something about me having a cup of tea and talking to her. So then all of a sudden something came to me, and I was like, I want to have my own show. I can make believe I have my own show by doing this, and see how it goes. Create kind of like my own little series. So it came to me saying the show's going to be called Tea With. So it would be tea. Last night on my first episode,
Tea with Karan.
And so now I'm going to have more episodes. We're going to have conversations with people. Right now it's afternoon time, and I'm drinking iced tea. Go figure, right? So this is iced tea with Tom.
Yeah.
But actually, it's more of a different episode because I want to share about something that happened this week. But, and also, it's funny because as we go through life and we start doing things, and as we're doing it, we're like doing things, and I found myself, buying a few 6 years ago, I hit a horrible bottom. I mean, I had my gut and my soul ripped out of me, and I was like an empty void. And it left me empty, and I was really looking for answers. And I went on this really strong path, and I through circumstances or whatever, wound up living with this, woman. She was older, but she was into kind of crystals and stuff, but nothing major. But she introduced me to a crystal healer, and then she introduced me to Kabbalah, and I heard about Kabbalah previously. But I went on this quest, and I bought all these crystals and everything like that, and I've done some mad stuff with these crystals. I programmed them with affirmations. I charged them. I meditated with them. I put in my chakras and everything. And then it's been 4 years that I've played with crystals, And what I'm saying is that I want to try something out. So I want to make believe that, I want to incorporate crystal reading into something that I could do. Just by reading people, their energy, and associating with crystals. And actually, last night, I haven't worked with crystals in years.
Yeah.
So I'm incorporating this into something that I want to toy around with and stuff like that. And I did a Tea with Karan episode.
Yeah.
And before we went on the episode, I had Karan pick a crystal. He wasn't there. He didn't see it. He just gave me a color. And actually, I asked him questions and stuff like that, and that crystal aligned with who he was, and he was really talking from the heart. And it was kind of like I was reading his story from this book, and it's very interesting. So it's something that if you listen to the conversations, actually it was very interesting because Karan ashes everything that came out, you know. So I had an interesting, week, right?
Yeah.
And I've been very, open about stuff and everything, and I want to be like whole and complete, and I want to be inspiration to myself, and I want to inspire others to be their own inspirations and everything like that. And you've given me the mechanism to do it with. Because if it weren't for you, Tom, I would have absolutely nothing, And your WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
that's what really started off. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you never did it before, right? You never did a WhatsApp group before, right? So when you first did because I'm curious about this, and the people will be listening to this who probably don't even know what everything like that, but like new people, whatever. But were you first thinking about creating this reasonable program and then incorporating WhatsApp? What was like your thought? What was the purpose of the WhatsApp chat?
That's a really great question. I'm going to tell you, you'll be very surprised by it because it's not what you think. It was, and it's certainly nothing like it's turned out. It's really, it's so far exceeded all my possible wildest imaginations. I'll tell you exactly how it happened. This is my phone, right? I was with one provider and I had a 3G SIM card. And I discovered as I was moving house to this new house in February, I discovered that my new house got 4G, right? Okay. So I thought, I know what, I'll get a new SIM card for my phone and I'll just swap it and I'll have a 4G one. It doesn't really matter, whatever. I'll go onto a website, I found it, and I thought, okay, now it's a bit complicated because all they want to do is sell me a phone. And I thought, okay, I don't want to talk to anybody. All I want is a SIM card, a pay-as-you-go SIM card. I want it to be 4G. Actually could be a contract. I didn't really mind. And I think the last thing I want to do, Mark, I'm sure you've done this right a few times. Is you've called up a company, and you've ended up going to a dashboard, and it's like press 1 for this, and 2 for that, and 4 for this, and it's just like you lose the will to live, don't you? Like 20 minutes into the So I'm just on there thinking, I don't want to do that. Oh, I'll just do some more research. And then guess what happened? A text window just popped up. So, hi, I'm Lauren. I'm online. Can I help you with anything? And I thought, I've seen this before. This isn't real. This is an automated. It's just a little pop-up. It's a virtual assistant. I said, sure. This is what I'm looking at doing. I own a phone outright because I didn't buy this on a contract, just paid for the phone because it's much simpler. And I want to get a SIM card, and that's all I want. And I thought it'd be interesting. And then it came back as a real answer, and I thought, okay, well, what about this? And I thought, wow, that's so powerful because it's such low resistance. It's not having to talk to someone and not knowing who you're going to talk to. It's just like, if the conversation looks like it's going to be useful, you can carry on with it. If it doesn't, I thought, whoa, chat could be really, really useful. I thought, I wonder how I could do this in a way where if I'm going to have these groups, because obviously in my mind I'm thinking of reaching hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people worldwide. I've got my Udemy classes, but they're non-interactional really. They're just watching the videos and so on. There's no real interaction with me. I wonder if I could set up a chat-based way of doing it, and people could ask me questions, but I could probably deal with 5 or 6 different people at the same time, right? Because I bet the girl who's writing to me has got 5 or 6 different people on this website that she's on. And I thought, okay, so I just did a little bit of thinking, and I'm making believe now that I want to be able to use this sort of thing. So I was thinking of doing it through the website, through a reasonability website, and I was thinking of doing it a bunch of different ways, and I thought, I know. And you know what? There was a story. It just so happened, I just saw a news story about this company, WhatsApp, had been bought by Facebook, which was like 6 weeks ago or something like that, 7 weeks ago. And I said, and I looked at it, and I did a little bit of research, and the engineering they got behind it is like a company of only 50 people was bought for 20 billion, 19 billion. And I was thinking, how can such a small company be worth so much? And then I did a bit of research and I read about the technology that they were using, and I read about the number of calls to the server they were doing, and how incredibly sophisticated their system was, and how little downtime it was, and it was phone based. And I spoke to my wife. Guess what? She's been using it for 5. She's been using it for 5 years. And she goes, yeah. That's how I talk to my dad in Texas all the time. He just does voice recordings, and he sends me messages when he's driving around because he's on hands-free, and he sends me a message. And I said, I've been using it for years. And I thought, oh yeah, I remember. And so I thought, I know. Now listen, I'm not even anywhere close to thinking how good it could be yet. I'm just thinking, oh yeah, I could use this as a way to communicate to lots of people simultaneously at the same time. And I'm still thinking, oh, I can chat to people, 5 or 6 people all at the same time. So I get WhatsApp, start playing around with it, and think, you know what? You can do groups on WhatsApp. I didn't even know that. And I thought, I know, what if I set up a group and I could have, like 50 people at a time that I can send messages to? Because if there's 50 people all over the world, there's probably only going to be like 4 or 5 people actually online at any time who aren't actually working or sleeping or whatever. So I thought I could have a group of about 50. I could just send them kind of inspirational, motivational messages, stuff like that. And I thought, wow, that'd be really good. And I could do teaching on it. And it'd be like, Tom's going to go online. He's going to be online at 7 p.m. and he's just going to do any questions. And this started it started right at the end of April, right at the end of February, about the 28th of February, 26th, 27th. So about a week or 10 days before you got involved, Mark, I started doing it, and I set up the first group, and Reasonable Wealth 1, RW1, filled up really quickly. There were like 50 people on it really, really quickly. And then you came along and a few other people, and already Reasonable Wealth 1 was full. But what I didn't realize, I totally misjudged it, was that I still thought that it was just a really good way for me to communicate to lots of people all at the same time. I completely missed the point of the fact that all of these people, every single one of these people, had energy, ideas, thoughts, and downloads themselves. And it turns out that the real power of the WhatsApp groups was when people started sharing their own perspectives and talking to each other and asking questions, and then I wasn't always around to answer the questions, but they started answering each other's questions. And then sharing in that forum just took the whole thing, it just exploded. In a period of about 2 weeks, it was really interesting. When you came in, you were like the 3rd or 4th person in Reasonable Wealth 2. I don't know whether you realised when you came on there was only like 4 or 5 people in there. And then from that time to about, well, obviously to now, but it took about 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and it just suddenly went crazy. And I was waking up in the morning and there were like 500 messages. It was amazing, wasn't it? But what was happening is people, I remember there was a period of a few days where you and there was a guy called Bevan, and the two of you were just having these incredibly deep conversations, and I wasn't even having to do anything.
You must have been shocked about that one.
I was just like, this is insane. I wanted to create a mastermind community, but I had no idea that this happened totally by accident. I was thinking of creating a mastermind community sort of sometime in the future, and all of a sudden, and I guess because I'd already conceived it, I'd already thought of it, it was just the universe just happened to show me, oh, WhatsApp might be a good thing to do. It sent me to that website where I saw the story, and I saw, I don't pay much attention to the news, but I saw the story. WhatsApp suddenly became, and how many lives has it changed already? And as Mark, from your experience, that was the thing that really massively accelerated things, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. 100%.
So for your perspective, what is it about it that seems to work?
Well, like you told me, like you said before, it was kind of like, well, I can make believe. And then it was actually more of a comfortable setting in which I didn't have to be on the phone and talk to somebody or whatever. I could just use my fingers and type words, and it made it really easy,
It's no resistance, isn't it? It's just like you don't have to think of talking to someone like if you're going to be coached by someone, or it's like, oh, But whereas just like you just put something out there, if someone's around, it seems to work. If they're not, no problem. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but just read it later, and I just kept on. And actually, the amazing thing is that the more I was doing it, the better I was feeling.
Yeah.
And I was just like, because like the thing is, we all have like a voice, right? Everybody has a voice inside. And one thing that I feel, and actually I felt it today at my meeting I went to. I hadn't been to this meeting in a long time. There's a lot of people there. It was a big meeting. And I felt the urge to want to share, but for some reason I chose to observe and be in silence. But my voice was wanting me to share, and I was getting, guess what, sweaty palms. Because my script was like saying that whatever I shared wasn't going to be whatever, and I was listening to it.
Yeah.
And it was fooling me to think that it was a choice that I want to share, but I was feeling anxious, And I started raising my hand. But it was a big meeting, I didn't get called on. But I chose not to go there with the script, because the script could have been like, oh, it's stupid, the guy wanted to pick you anyway, Yeah. But but the thing is, what I'm saying is that, like, it gives you, this forum, this chat, for people sometimes that the script gets in the way. This is a really good script buster, because, and there are still people that listen to the script and don't really share, Yeah. And some of them do, some of them don't, but I know for me that if it wasn't for that, whatever, and I liked sharing, and actually started manifesting itself into giving myself more confidence and able to be in the person outside more.
Yeah.
And the more I was putting in, I felt like I was sort of like feeding, like this, the WhatsApp group became like my sausage machine. Yes. And whatever I was feeding in it was actually coming out in the real world, and I started creating myself in it. And then people started getting inspired, but sometimes because I'm doing it to inspire myself. But one thing I found is that I've been wanting to write for a long time, Yeah. For a long time I've been wanting to write. For years and years, my wife got tired, and I started writing in my book, and I'm not like near, I'm writing my book or whatever, but I'm writing. I'm writing in WhatsApp every single day.
Yes.
And I'm getting some joy out of it, and it's inspiring people, inspiring myself, and I'm also speaking truth. I'm speaking like I'm speaking from what's in. Like it's a way for the voice from within to come out in a safe environment, unscripted. Where sometimes, in reality or whatever, there's a face-to-face stuff like that. Our script comes up in different ways, and I'm aware of it with I'm talking to people and stuff. So I'm unscripted, but this is a form where it can be totally unscripted. You're not in front of anybody. You just do it yourself. And I see as more and more people doing it, they're getting affirmations from everybody else. They're doing the right thing, and sometimes it feels like, a lot of people are getting like into this flow, and the conversations sometimes really flow very well. So you're a thinker, right, Tom? And I'm pretty sure your mind is definitely thinking like, whoa, this WhatsApp group thing is getting pretty crazy over here.
Yeah. What's
going on in your mind right now? What's next?
For me, okay, so then I thought what we'd do is I like science. You know that I like science. And I'm thinking, mainly, I'm still thinking of the Reasonable Wealth program at this stage. I'm not thinking about coaching necessarily. I'm thinking it would be really good if we could kind of use the activity on WhatsApp in each group as a measure that we could correlate against the success that the groups achieved. Because I believe that the more you share, the more your awareness goes up. The more your awareness goes up, the faster you get the results. Because, well, the more your awareness goes up, the more you do. The more you do with the right energy and the right attitude, the better results you get. So I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to correlate the rate of WhatsApp activity on an average for each group? So Reasonable Wealth 1, Reasonable Wealth 2, and each time they come on, each time these groups come on stream, every cycle of like 13 weeks there'll be another one. we'll track the progress of these groups at the end of each 13 weeks when people do their self-assessment and they work out how well things are going. What I'm going to do is I'm going to include the activity on WhatsApp, and I'm going to measure that, because what I'd like to do is to show people the actual scientific proof. It won't be proof, it'll be correlation. The more activity on WhatsApp groups, the more successful the group did on average. And that's what I'm expecting to show. Now, I'm putting that in my sausage machine, so that's what's going to happen. Because I'm thinking the more that people do, the better for everyone. Because what's really interesting is, Mark, is you've been a massive catalyst. Because you going out there and sharing so much and inspiring people, and also, as you say, you call yourself like the popcorn guy, because you're just popping people. You're doing it through being the example. I think if you just were the popcorn guy, just trying to pop other people, it wouldn't work as well. But you're doing it from a place of, I'm sharing. Look, this is me. This is my good times, my bad times, my, how I feel when everything's going awesome and I'm changing the world and everyone loves me and I'm putting out this great energy, and then how I'm doing when things aren't going as well, but I'm still awesome because I've got the awareness. And that's giving people the permission. So my way of correlating it is to actually, well, you can measure, everything is logged on WhatsApp, so you can just literally say, well, Reasonable Wealth 1 produced 462,000 characters in this 13-week period, and Reasonable Wealth 2 produced like 4,693,000 or whatever, and see how the difference between those two groups and all the successful groups. So it's just, I'm trying to come up with some science behind it, and I think, well, how can I? This is the thing, Mark. How can I really effectively track how much a whole group on average is actually thinking about this stuff? Well, this is a perfect way to do it, isn't it? Because the more they're thinking about this, the more they will be doing and typing and joining in the community chat.
I just got to make it download, Tom. I got to make it download.
Go on.
You don't need to really do anything. You can do other things. Look at this. You don't really need to put any input into these WhatsApp chats because they're already taking care of itself. They're already self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Now you can create more things because people are leaders are emerging every single week. I think a day or whatever, someone is becoming awesome and taking control or whatever, or doing something, contributing. So we're all becoming our own coaches to ourselves and others, and people coming out. So you don't really need to really coach per se. You could create more programs or do more one-on-one coaching and stuff like that. And all you're doing is starting it off. You're planting a seed in the beginning, and then boom, it flowers. Because there's more and more people like us, And an amazing thing also that I'm thinking too is everybody, because as people are getting involved in the contributing and stuff like that, right? Everybody's creating a purpose and a vision, right?
Yeah.
And whatever that purpose and vision is, they're bringing in the same people's circumstances into their lives. Everybody is actually bringing in everybody that's involved. I'll speak for myself, my own personal experience right now. I've been listening to your assignments, and 2 weeks ago, it hit me like a sledgehammer. This whole thing about the $100,000.
Yeah.
That spun me off like crazy, right? I was really excited. I blew up your phone, and we had this thing about it. What happened? Brian Sykes comes out of nowhere, and it's his passion. It's almost as if it was his idea or whatever, but this guy is like on fire with this thing. Like it's like he is like, and the thing is that we bring in the people, so we're all bringing each other for our things that we're doing. Are you guys going over there?
Yeah, we're having fun. That's Cindy. Just give me a cup of tea.
Oh,
Cindy,
I love it.
Do you want to come and show us your baby?
Yeah, let me present.
Cindy's going to come and
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
That's Mark.
Hi, Mark. Nice to meet you.
So you got a baby coming? We're so excited over here.
Thanks. We are too.
The whole world is looking to
Jump the tummy.
Wow. She is ready to go. That's very exciting.
Alright.
Very
Ready.
exciting. Tom says that you're the greatest life coach in the world.
I did what?
I said that you're the greatest life coach in the world.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You're,
Yeah.
What's your secret?
Oh, Lord. I don't know. It's top secret. I can't share with you.
So we got Agent
So good.
Awesomez over there with a top secret mission to be the
Don't want you
best
to know
life
our
coach in the world.
Yeah, no.
It's quite amazing.
We laugh a lot. That's probably the best thing. We have a lot of fun.
I can
We do
imagine
laugh a lot,
that's
yeah.
a lot of fun over there.
Right. We've got a little boy out of bed, so
I'll go. Nice to meet you.
Okay,
See
that's
ya.
me too. So I wanted to discuss something. And
yes. Fire away.
it might take a lot of time of yours, but we'll wrap up. All right.
No, I've got all the time in the world.
All right. Oh, it's only 5:30. So
This is my favorite thing to do, Mark, of all time.
So here's the story, okay? I'm actually ooh. I don't know why I pulled this one out. You see this one? I don't have a camera.
I can see you've got something
pulled
in
it
hand.
out. This is a hematite. Hematite is a interesting crystal I use it for protection. I used to use one for protection stuff. Yeah, it's funny. I used to carry crystals around with me wherever I want. I'm my own crystal pouch. Kind of interesting. Anyway, we have a lot of awesome things going on over here, So Brian Sykes, and we're all brought together, We have you, the mastermind guru. Yeah. Brian Sykes is like the ultimate, this guy is a genius.
Yeah.
I bring people together. I inspire people. It's funny how all pieces are coming together into one. And, we got, how our kind of visions are all, becoming something. And one thing that you've talked about, and I think it's something that's been in my head for a long time, and I'll go into my conversation I had on Wednesday. I'll preface it with this. Heaven on earth. That's what's been in the back of my head. Heaven and earth. We've been talking about this for a while. So I placed this consultant. This is the older fellow that I was totally shocked he got the job. So my first time meeting him in person, I saw him on his picture on LinkedIn. So I met my first time meeting him online, and we go in a car. And I like people. I could feel people's energies. I could feel sometimes that they were genuine, good, happy people or whatever. And this guy had something really good energy about him. And we were in the car, we were talking, and he replaced somebody over there. And I met this other guy several times that he replaced. He wound up quitting. And if he didn't quit, he'd been fired. This other guy, and the funny thing is I forgot his name, but he was so much in, script. And he also said, and it didn't align with what he said, this other guy, because he would tell me, and we'd go to lunch, all about the Bible and Jesus and everything like that. And he'd quote stuff from the Bible. And I was asking this new guy, Tom, and we were having lunch in the car. So what have you heard about this other guy? And he said, well, he had all the answers, but no one liked him because he didn't want to be friends with anybody at work. He just did his job, answered the questions, and everything like that. Besides from that, he tuned out. And the manager didn't like that. He was there for a year or so. And I was like, that's interesting because he used to tell me how much he read the Bible. And that's counterproductive with what Jesus had said, Yeah. Jesus said, treat everyone as you want to be treated, right? And here this guy treating everybody like they're jerks, cutting people off and everything. He has the answers. And he said, well, Mark, the devil finds his way in church also. The devil.
Yeah.
The devil is a script. It's just another word for it. Yeah. So I'm like, Thomas, you're a church-going guy, and I like people that, have a belief in the faith, It doesn't have to be going to church or whatever, but it has to be someone that has a belief, has faith in something. And he said, yeah, he was. I've been going to church a lot. I go to church a lot, and I have a priest, and I asked him what church he went to, and he goes, I do a Bible study. So I was like, wow, interesting stuff. And then he kind of like mentioned something about his wife, and his wife had passed. So, and he's got kids and stuff. So he kind of said before his wife passed, he didn't really go to church that much. He was just like, regular guy, not believing too much about, stuff, but just living like a regular life,
Yeah.
After his wife passed, Thomas went to church and he found new life. And I was asking him, because I like people, I like being with people that, hit rock bottom and that bounce up. And you don't have to, one thing I learned is you don't have to hit rock bottom to go up, but some people they do, like my friend Tom. He had to hit that bottom, his wife passing, for it to actually change. Unfortunately, we don't do that. The universe is telling us signs, and we have to be aware, right, of everything that's going on by asking the right questions, making the right choices. It's all about being awareness. Like I've been having this thing that the script doesn't want us to believe in heaven and earth. So how does it manifest itself, right? It manifests itself in terms of loss, disappointments, setbacks.
Yeah.
Because I'm talking to my friend Thomas, right?
Yeah.
He goes to church and he's been baptized, the whole entire thing. And we were having this conversation. I was like, Tom, what does, I said, Tom, so what was, Jesus like teaching? He was like telling me, stuff like, Jesus was being the example and, that, to, believe, have faith, all this stuff. And I said, well, what would you say that, did Jesus like saying about heaven and earth? And he said Jesus wanted us to like, have a belief that existed, that it was here, that we didn't need, anything external to us, that we have heaven and earth. We could all have heaven and earth. This doesn't have to be. And then Tom was going on about how Jesus took everything by going on the cross and dying, but then coming back. But he took all the pain and suffering from us. And that we shouldn't have, so then I said, Tom, have you felt heaven and earth? And he goes, no. Because people don't know what it feels like. And I said, have you, you have kids, right? And then he started lighting up, talking about his kids. And you could feel the joy in him when he's talking about his kids. So I was like, Tom, can you say that your kids, the joy you have for the kids is the most awesome feeling? Yes. Can you say that when you had your baby and all the excitement you had, the feeling that you felt was the most amazing feeling you ever felt? They said yes. How would you say you felt? I was in heaven. So I said, so you felt what it's like to be in heaven and earth? And he said, yes, I did. So we had the conversation, and we're going on, and I'm talking about, this greater life for all thing, because I think it's such an amazing thing. Greater life for all, and we're talking about wealth and everything like that. And it's funny, the games that the script play with people, right?
Yeah.
Because there is enough for all, but people don't believe it. Like, the waiter comes over, and his hat, and I like, I remember coming, and he's like interested, because I mentioned the word awesome, right? And I asked him about greater life for all, and I said, do you think that there's enough for all of us? And then he had this like thing, well, I said, do you think that everybody has a right to be awesome and choose awesomeness? I said, well, some people have a right to get more than others. And that's just like the thought that people have. Why do people deserve to get? Why are some deserve to get more than others or whatever? It's a separation that like the script puts in people's heads. And he sounded this way. Just sounded pretty like and I was just like that's awesome. It's your choice. Choose an answer and stuff like that because everybody has their own level of awareness that they're going through. So I go back to Tom and I said, Tom, do you believe that we could bring heaven and earth? And this is really hard for Tom. Because Tom thinks, and the message that he got from church and everything like that, maybe it's his level of awareness, is the whole purpose about life is pain and suffering. And that Jesus, you have to go through what Jesus went through, die on the cross, and then go to heaven.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't need to go like that. He said, real heaven is where my wife is as an angel.
Yeah.
That's real heaven. But heaven doesn't need to be something we descend to. Why not having heaven on the ground floor? But Tom, everybody has their, what the level that the script was going to let them believe or whatever. And I didn't want to challenge that too much because you're going to cause resistance, and everybody has their own opinions about what they believe in. And that's the whole thing about belief. But Tom, he was a big inspiration to me because he was a beacon of light for what he believed in. And he was so easy and floated about a conversation and everything like that. And then we're talking about wealth, right? And I said, we're talking about awesomeness, right? Feeling awesome, stuff like that. And I said, do you think that murderers deserve to feel awesome? And he said, yes. He said, do you believe bank robbers and liars? He said, yes, all of you deserve to feel awesome. You all deserve it. It's their choice to feel awesome. It's not their fault. And he's going on. It's not their fault. It's a script. I mean, that's a script. It's the devil. The devil got in their head and caused those things. It's what he believed in, And those people did those things because of the devil. That's what he believed in and stuff. And it was really awesome. So we're talking about wealth, and he said, it's funny you asked me that question because, my parish and my priest in my church was telling me a story about he has 2 girls, and they asked him about the same thing about, wealth. And the priest is telling him the 2 girls, one girl's taller than the other one, right? So the priest kind of gave a story about how he has a bucket of money. And he didn't want to give the bucket to the little girl because she might drop it. It might be too heavy for her. She didn't have the trust that she could handle all that money in the bucket. She might be too small, might fall. But the big girl, he felt more comfortable giving it to the big girl because she trusted. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Lord will give to the people that trust and believe. Doesn't matter how it could be swapped around. It could have been a little girl. It's the perception that people have, that the script have. There's no greater than. Because I was saying, do you believe anybody greater than anybody else? That we're all equal. And now it's like what the painting gave me about wealth is that And it's kind of true in a way because people do dictate that because the level of faith that they have. Some people don't have the faith and trust that they can handle it, and that's why they have that lack. And the ones that have the faith and trust they can handle it have the abundance. Right?
You got it exactly right.
I had this conversation with Tom, and he's just a regular guy. He doesn't make a lot of money. He's a regular, humble guy with kids, being a father, being a job, being himself, doing things he believes in, and being such a beacon of light. So we're in a car, and this is where things take a little turn over here.
Okay.
And, it really kind of, because I really like getting the flow with people, connecting with people. And I really like it, because I think life's about connecting with people. I really had felt a connection with Tom, and I had the urge to ask him about his wife. And I asked him. I said, I was like, trying to straight face. What happened with, I said, why did your wife, choose death? It just came out, the question. And he said, he actually showed me a picture of his wife. He said, this is a picture of my wife. And I said, wow, she's a beautiful lady. Why did she choose death? And the story went on is that she developed Crohn's disease.
Okay.
And she'd been in an accident. And she asked Tom, and Tom liked guns. Tom had, he shoots guns. So one day, she told Tom to go out for an errand. So Tom went out for an errand, and she found one of the guns, went to the bathroom, and terminated herself. It was pretty horrible, and I just can imagine, coming home, and, I was able to put myself in his shoes of...
Yeah.
It was terrible. So he said, I don't want to talk about this too much longer because I'm going to start crying. And I was like, we'll change the subject. And I was like, Tom, awesome job. You're an awesome guy. And the amazing thing is he's a regular guy with a family, and he chose Awesomez as the answer. How many people will go to the deep end and live a life of misery? And he chose faith. He chose belief. He chose Jesus. He didn't choose alcohol. He didn't choose drugs. All the choices he chose, rebirth. It's a rebirthing. And that was a moving story because here's what happened. I came back from work and I was on a spiritual, emotional high. And I was met with disappointment. The universe was testing me, it was just testing me because here's Tom who lost his wife and is happy. And it was found, reborn. And I find out one of my consultants gets fired and I'm being negative. And I'm complaining. And then Thursday wasn't that much better, but then it hit me like a ton of bricks. I told my manager, I said, listen, Tom lost his wife, and he's happy. He didn't kill himself. He didn't turn to drugs. And look at me, I'm behaving like a child, and I lost a placement.
Yeah.
It kind of puts things in perspective, right?
Yeah.
And that's the message. And the message is, because how many people go through life in loss, and the script creates pain and suffering on this earth, when the message is not pain and suffering, but to be reborn from within, to have a new inner faith within yourself, that everything will be all right, that everything, there is awesomeness, we do have choices. And that's what's been, the universe has been telling me, Mark, choose, make better choices. Don't choose the dark side, because the dark side wants you. Choose the force.
Yeah.
Be in the force. Be with the force. Be a force for good. Then I got put on a mission. My manager, one mission, be the example of her words. You got to be the example, Mark. So she's using words from this, but not knowing the context of it. But she's telling me the example of an awesome recruiter. Then my director, everybody had left for lunch or whatever, and he's going away for the week. He goes in his office, and I was going on about, my negative stuff, what happened. I said, Mark, those are setbacks. We have 30 jobs on the board right now. You can get 30 placements. 30 new placements. What happened in the past happened. You have to go out there and be the best recruiter and inspire everybody to be the best, because we have so much money out there in the plate that you're the one that has to be the one that's going to be it. It's you. My second mission, best recruiter. Be the example. And then Jennifer, who I've known, I worked with at a previous company, and she's seen me bloom into somebody else. And she sent me a message through email saying, I don't like, because she's known me for over 10 years. She's seen my ups and downs. She's seen me in hell, and she's seen me come back. She's like, I don't like the negative you. I like the positive you, and you have to be the positive you again. That's 3 missions I have. Positive me, I have to be the example, I have to be a star recruiter. And what? I had a setback, right? And it's all about this chapter 11. We have a job to do, right? What's the job, Tom?
It's whatever we're doing right now. Just do it.
What message do you have? Let me ask you a question, all right? Because I did this to Karan last night.
Yep.
And you got to watch the call if you have time. It's only about 40. I got to keep the calls a little bit.
I will. They're posted already, aren't they? Yes, I'm good.
Yeah, I want to keep the calls a little bit to half an hour or so.
Half an hour is good. 20 minutes, 40 minutes is good. Yeah.
This is a big question.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go on.
Now your agent, Awesomez, creator of creators, mastermind, thought producer, agent of birth of ideas. So you have a pretty big title here.
Thanks very much.
Now, somebody is listening to this video right now. We're having this conversation. It could be 1 year, 5 years, 20 years, 100 years. It could be now, 5 minutes. Somebody's at a particular stage of their life. We don't know what it is, where it is, but they're right now sitting here in the stage of the video hearing us talk.
Yeah.
What advice you can give this total stranger, someone you know, about heaven and earth, what to do? Or any advice?
Yeah, well, I suppose every time you ask me this question, I would give a different answer, because it'll be whatever's just downloaded to me at the time. But you know what's just downloaded to me just then? It was like, everyone always talks about being in a ground floor opportunity. Everyone loves the idea of being, creating or being the first involved in a ground floor opportunity. Well, this is the ultimate ground floor opportunity. It's like creating heaven on earth, on the ground. And that's like, the opportunity is there for everyone, because all we have to do is just be the example ourselves, and all we have to do is just notice and be able to separate ourselves from what we are doing and what we are thinking and how we are feeling, and noticing that that's different from what we would choose to do and choose to think and choose to feel. And if all everybody did was that one thing, just notice, then that would be heaven on earth. If all everyone did was just notice, that would be it. Just notice the script. Now, obviously, for people that don't know enough about the script, they'll have to kind of watch some of the other videos. But essentially, it's to be aware that they would always choose awesome. They would always choose amazing. They would always choose to be happy, to be inspiring, to be inspirational, to be the best. They would always choose to realize their full potential. They'd never choose to realize like 90% of their potential or 62% of their potential. They'd always choose to actually utilize their entire potential. So I'm just switching the camera to me there. Sorry about that. They would always choose to use 100%, be everything they could be. And actually, that's their job. Their job. They will repay the universe for them being alive and having been organized their atoms in a certain way by just being the best that they can be. And everyone says, yeah, just be the best that you can be. But no. What happens is most people never get to even realize what that is because they get stuck in the script. So it's just, okay, what would you choose to be the best that you can be? And that's what you have to do. And I think that's kind of it, you know. Everyone would choose to be the most awesome. They would choose to be the most inspirational, the best father, the best daughter, the best grandchild, the best inspirer, the best colleague, the best listener. They would choose to be the best of these things that they can be. And we're all going to be a little bit different in our particular skills. You know, you're the person who really stimulates people into discovering their own awesomeness, perhaps more than anybody, Mark. You know, you are great at just getting straight to the heart of people and just giving them permission to access their own awesomeness. And that's, you know, other people will be better at maybe designing ways to purify water so that everyone can have unlimited free water, whatever. So there'll be technical people, and there'll be inspirational people, and there'll be people, and there'll be, you know, technology people. But the single biggest achievement for everybody is to just notice the difference between what they are doing and what they would choose, and just to be aware of that. And I think if you, every single day, in every relationship you've got, in the job you are doing right now, in your future, you know, with your children, wherever you are, if you can just have that separation, that noticing between what you are, anything, and what you would choose, that would be literally creating heaven on earth. That would be the ground floor opportunity that everyone wants to create. I don't know whether that would really do it justice, but I think that's the answer that I'm giving right now.
Well, Tom, that's the most amazing answer. And now, in closing,
yep.
And this question for some reason just came to me because, you know, about heaven and earth. What's your feeling like if someone doesn't know what it feels like, someone listening to it right now doesn't know what it feels like, you felt it, right?
Yeah.
How does someone know that they're feeling heaven and earth? Like, explain like where it comes from. Is it coming from your heart? Coming from your gut? How do you feel it? So someone can know. How do you explain that?
It's the same way you know whether the person that you're getting married to is the right one. You know, you can't explain it. You don't know what it is. You try and write it down on a piece of paper and it doesn't make any kind of sense at all. And you know what? You could look back and maybe your marriage ended and it only lasted 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, and then you might say, oh, I was wrong. And I'll say, no, you weren't. That same certainty that you had about that is the same awareness that you've got when you've got, you know, that certainty is you trusting your intuition. And you might think that it was wrong, but actually it wasn't wrong. It was right for you for that time. For the person you were at that point was in tune with their intuition, and that was the right decision. That's the experience. You feel it through love. You feel heaven on earth through that incredible certainty, the love you have for your children that you never have to question. As you say, when you're there at the presence of a new life being brought into the world, and you get that overwhelming deep love, which is a genetic kind of universal thing that everyone experiences. You know, the greatest thing, if you think about it, really the greatest thing that humans will ever do is create more humans. That is the single greatest thing. Now, if you want to know what abundance is something that everyone can do, right? That everyone can access. We can access the greatest thing. If you don't think that creating new life is the greatest thing, well, just put the richest people in the world together and get them to fund a project with the best scientists in the world to try and create life, to try and create human life. If the wealthiest people in the world, according to our terrestrial definitions of wealth, and the smartest people in the world can't do something, it's probably pretty flipping valuable, you know. So being able to create life. So you access it in awareness, but that manifests itself maybe in love, maybe in the miraculousness of nature, maybe when you're totally in the zone and you're communicating with a colleague. You know, this call, when you're talking, that I'm experiencing it right now. When I'm talking, you're probably experiencing it. This is literally, we don't have to jump through any hoops. We don't have to go through any hurdles. We don't have to build all these edifices and, you know, infrastructures or anything to actually access it. We create it right now for all of us. Now, all we need to do is get enough people to be doing this and having this awareness, and then it's like the effect of it, and you don't even have to get 100% of the people, right? You got, if everyone on the planet was like you, what would we have? Right? We wouldn't have murder. We wouldn't have, you know, stealing. We wouldn't have burglary. We wouldn't have violent crime. We wouldn't have any lack mentality. We'd have abundance. We'd have awesomeness. So heaven on earth is incremental. We are creating it individually and collectively as we go through. So it's now, it's everything. We experience it. It's you being you. It's me being me. It's as simple as that. Now, our script will say it can't be that easy. The script will say, no, come on, that's crazy. It can't be that easy. But it really is. It's not Jesus, and this is not from a particular perspective in saying this is the only way to do it. Of course not. I don't think that at all. But Jesus was saying, look, we don't need to do anything else. It's just like, our Father who was in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Give us this. So it's our kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven, right? On earth now as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. So Jesus is saying, look, hey, heaven on earth means more than is give us this day our daily bread. It's like everything we could want. You know, it's abundance. So it's like
prayer.
It's prayer. It's like everything. And you know, I don't subscribe. You notice that there nowhere in Jesus's prayer was the mention of suffering. Nothing to do with suffering in Jesus' prayer. So I don't think that that's really true, what everyone's saying. But anyway, so in closing, Mark, that's just what I reckon. I reckon that it is accessible. All we need to do, you know my story about the banquet. Look, we just need to eat from the banquet and just tell everyone else to come to the banquet. And that is heaven on earth.
I just want to see something right now. Something occurred to me.
Go on.
Oh. Well, for some reason, when I was talking to you, I felt compelled to pick a crystal. It came out to be a crystal called hematite.
Yeah.
Hematite. Keywords: grounding, manifestation, making the spiritual physical.
Huh.
And it says the affirmation for this crystal, what I programmed this with was, through my body, I ground the energies of the light realms in this world.
That sounds about right.
So, all right, this has been a good tea talk.
Yeah.
Tea talk with Tom. Tom's having tea.
Well,
I'm having iced tea.
Yeah, I mean, mine's a herbal tea actually. It's a peppermint type thing. It's pretty nice.
What kind of tea do you have there?
It's called a refresh tea. It's got peppermint and it's got licorice, and I think it's got organic fennel in or something like that. But it's nice.
I'll try that. Is that a good evening tea?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's good after food because peppermint's a natural digestive.
Oh, really? Because I'm into teas. I like having tea. I actually have tea each night.
Yeah.
And I like iced tea, but before I go to bed, I'll have a tea. I like tea that helps, to sleep and digestion.
Yeah.
So this is like a little bit of tea talk over here.
It's good.
So Tom, when are we meeting? I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. I think it's going to happen pretty soon, right?
Well, let's put in the sausage machine that we meet sooner than we expect.
Okay.
I might just decide
that.
I might just decide to make a trip just on the last minute spur of the moment. I might just come over to Florida. There's a lot of activity in Florida.
Yeah, we got Brian Sykes. His parents are in Northern Florida, and Tom's over in Northern Florida. I'm in South Florida.
Sam is in Tallahassee, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
I'm actually where it's at. I'm in South Florida, and we got beaches, and it's very.
When's the best time of year to come there?
Best time of year to come, I'd say, is right in the in the fall. The summertime it gets kind of hot. It's really hot and humid. You don't want to be here during the summer too much, but starting September, October, somewhere in there, it gets nice. Even everybody comes down. You see, Florida, they have a term here in the States, right? I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's called snowbirds.
Yes, I've heard
that.
So,
people from the north fly down to Florida.
Yeah.
And it's busy 6 months out of the year, from like December until May or whatever. It's pretty busy. Aside from that, it's a good time to come.
Well, I'm planning to come to the States December, but I'll probably try to do a good trip for about maybe 6 weeks. Do a tour, December and January. But you never know. I might make a cheeky trip before then. You never know. But it's Mark, you just you don't know the power you've got over people yet. I mean, you're getting it, I'm sure. But the power you've got to bring people to life is just fantastic. They're like flowers in the desert, and you just come along, a drop of water, and poof, and it's.
I'm having, Tom, I'm actually having fun with it,
Yeah.
And there's gonna be some more things coming up because I'm getting more ideas and everything, and I like to create, and I feel like it's like a project. I'm creating, obviously if people are up for it, and they choose to get involved, then fine, and I like that. I'm picking up on it. There's going to be I think, hopefully, let me check my email really quick, but I did put out a mission to somebody, and I hope that it's accepted because I think it's going to be a nice little thing of beauty. And let me see, maybe not yet. No.
We've got the Greater Life for All meeting tomorrow at what is it? It's 11 a.m. Eastern time, isn't it? Tomorrow.
Yes. So that's going to be great talk.
Oh, that's going to be so good. There's so many things, so many concrete things that are happening with that already. That's really, really exciting.
That's going to be hope for everything. And
well, yeah, this is what we're doing with kind of reasonable wealth as individuals working in their own businesses or together, but not necessarily. It's up to them. The coaching program is about everyone wanting to be coaches and doing their own thing. That's great. But what you're putting together, well, what we're putting together through the Greater Life for All project is just kind of a way of systematizing it so that everybody wins, really, isn't it?
It is, and I'm really.
It's going to be big.
It's going to bring it up. I'm really excited about it. It's just, it's when I think about it, I think about that ground floor opportunity of being involved in something that's going to bring so much awesomeness to everybody. And what I'm doing here, I don't want to think is that I don't want to give too much away about my little Tea With series, but. Whole premise is going to be tea with whatever person, having a conversation, having tea with people, and using this kind of book as a little bit of guide.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's kind of like my little guidebook.
I can see
and using a crystal, and the person can be a direct representation of themselves. So it gives people exposure to be out there and say who they are. Because Greater Life for All is we're bringing Greater Life for All to everybody, and I'm helping people find their inner uniqueness.
So you're going to be the Oprah of the Greater Life for All, right?
Yes, I'm going to have. So everybody's having a chance to go ahead and talk about who they are. But it's going to be unscripted. I'm keeping everything unscripted. How do you make things unscripted, Tom? Well, basically, everything is being done at something that's not planned.
Yeah, don't let people know.
I'd say, and that's pretty much it. And nothing's planned, everything's unscripted, and it worked out terrifically with Quran. Ruth was just, Ruth would just happen, It wasn't even a part of the series, because that was her recording. But then got me thinking about my next stuff, and now, it's going to branch into more things, And I think that other people will start wanting to do things also, I was thinking, we'll just say that there's going to be some cool things going on, and we're going to see some coolness going to be happening pretty soon with little secret missions that I'm assigning at different times. Because the whole thing is that, and one thing I'm finding is that there has to be the element of surprise, because I don't want people's scripts getting involved, because they're expecting something and the script is going to be preparing it. But if it like that, bam, then they get the trueness out of themselves, right?
You've got it exactly right. I don't give people the opportunity to prepare, because if you give them time or the opportunity to prepare, all you're really doing is giving them the opportunity to go into their script and have the script prepare what it thinks would be good. And that's what you're doing. If you're surprising people, the element of surprise is actually the element of awesomeness, really, isn't it? Because it's like you're getting people totally. The only place they can go is to their intuition. That's all they can do.
So we'll close off, because you get your family there. It's getting late there, and we're probably a long time right now. So
well, it's these things don't need to be that long, but this has been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and you and I could go talking until tomorrow. About things that
we don't even need each other. We don't even need each other. We've both got enough to talk about on our own.
I love creating things. You brought something aside of things. I love creating. I like creating things. But you're a programmer or whatever. I say like the science guy who creates like these things. Yeah. I'm very good at coming up with ideas and then giving to people, having to create stuff. But I got to find a way to. It's going to come to me. But I really like giving people like things that they can do on their own and inspiring them, and it inspires me. And as I'm writing my book, I'm also writing my life. It's just like I'm right as you go type of person. And I'm going to create something awesome. I'm really excited. I'm a firm believer that this is the most awesome thing, and I like being. I love living. Yeah, I saw Spider-Man last night. It was a very good time in the movie. It was a very fun movie and everything. I like these action movies. My inner child loves it.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is that Jamie Lee Foxx in the movie, he plays this guy, becomes Electrode, right? And it was amazing because I was thinking about something, right? Here's a villain who becomes powerful from electricity, right? But how about each person being their own source of good, feeding into the power of other people, We feed on each other's positive energy and become more positive awesomenesses, feeding, like getting more powerful, lifting each other up. And I was like, wow, like what a great concept, Everybody lifting and becoming more and more powerful, and manifesting their own things in their lives and having the lives that they envision and dream, and how awesome would that be, And that's what Greater Life for All to me is, Everybody being given that platform and an opportunity to, like, be everything they wanted to be, unscripted, untapped, this total unlimitedness. And it's possible.
Well, it's already happening. We're already doing it,
Well, I'm trying to see something here.
I'm there.
I got a chat thing.
It's okay. I can still see you. It's okay. It's working fine. But we're going to wrap up now anyway, shall we?
Okay, yeah. All right, so Tom, are you there?
I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, my friend, my good friend I haven't met before, but I can say he's my good friend.
Yeah.
And,
None of us, no, I've met one other guy. I've met Steve in London, Steve Light. No one else has met anyone else in the entirety of our network. Hundreds of people at the moment, hundreds. Amazing.
Well, I got some quick words here that we are doing some awesome things in our communities and everything like that. It's bringing Awesomez. We definitely are doing some awesome stuff. So all right, let's carry on.
Catch up with you tomorrow.
All right. Well, have a good night.
Cheers, buddy. Take care.
Cheers.
See you later. Bye.